We're looking to step one for work at your college would be to eliminate obstacles to broaden access. And what we have referenced here is a recommended Administrative Procedure 4235. If you're from the state of California, you may be familiar with this AP. This is Credit for Prior Learning AP. And the CPL, the MAP CPL work group has been working on revisions to AP 4235 to recommend to the state for the past year. And we have a recommended model to offer. And one of the first things that we look at, we saw that could be a potential roadblock was a maximum CPL units in your AP. Shelley, do you want to say something about that maybe?
Sure. So for the San Diego Community College District, before we had a 12-unit maximum on our CPL, and then we, through recommendations with the different constituent groups, we removed that maximum. However, there is a note of caution that we do give students and let them know, we put in our catalog that they really need to make sure they meet with a counselor and they're aware of how CPL may impact them with the transfer institutions, because some of the transfer institutions still have a CPL maximum, excuse me, and then possible considerations on financial aid. But otherwise, it gives a lot more flexibility for the students to remove that maximum.
Thank you, Shelley. Yeah, so there's no Title V requirement for you to have a maximum. And we found in our work with the cohort that it really varies from college to college. Most colleges have a maximum of 12, 15, or 30 units. And it's something to consider whether you need that. I think it opens more opportunities for you to treat each student's situation and circumstances when you have no maximum. I don't know, Allison and Aaron, do you have a maximum at West LA?
No, our district removed it as well.
Great. Something to keep in mind is that WASC does have a maximum that they apply to a standard that applies to the CSUs, that a maximum of 25% of a bachelor's degree can be accrued through the CSU's locally evaluated credit for prior learning. So it doesn't really apply at all to the transcribed CPL that a student brings in to the CSU. That's what we would do at the community college. We would transcribe that CPL. They would come in with that. And WASC does not speak to that, although there can be I think, a misconception or a conception that there should be an overall limit of 30 units CPL in a bachelor's degree, but that's not really a WASC standard, nor is it a Title V.
Sam, there's a question in the chat. Is there an issue with student transferring with that many CPL units?
There has not been an issue with the number of units. What the issue we've faced is ensuring that CPL is listed on the transcript. So often CPL can be given on the back end by clearing area credits and just applying elective units on the back end without differentiating or listing that on the transcript. And the CSUs have been very supportive of honoring all transcribed CPL that's part of an ADT or CSU GE breadth. And there's been no mention of limitation. Now, we want to be careful with awarding too many elective credits to students, because that can impact their financial aid. It can impact their benefits. And so all of these decisions need to be taken into account with each student's situation and their transfer destination and their program of study. Shelley, did you want to add anything to that?
No, you answered that. But there is another question in the chat. Do your colleges have a residency? Hold on, it just moved.
Great
Do
one.
your colleges have a residence requirement before units can be awarded? And I
Yeah,
know for our district, we do not.
yeah, we do at the RCCD. So this is just a great topic for discussion. I'm not sure if West LA does. Probably not, because I think you use the model AP for your revisions at West LA.
No, not, so not before we award the units, and then it's only for degrees
Only for
that
degrees.
have the 12 unit
That's an
residency.
excellent distinction. Title V requires residency only for the associate's degree, not for certificates.
Mhm.
That can be often, misunderstood. And so for CP, and there is no requirement in Title V that residency be established before CPL is awarded. And so there's no connection there. For us, it's something we're reconsidering in our district moving forward. It was a legacy back when 4235 used to be credit by exam AP, if you may recall, and a lot of the provisions of the credit by exam got carried over into our AP 4235 credit for prior learning, but those were based on Title V requirements just for credit by exam. So anyway, now they're differentiated, and that's another obstacle you can consider removing. As well, we have good standing. As often we've seen with colleges, they require good standing. That is not a Title V requirement. One of the values that we decided to apply in our revision of these AP 4235 was, if it's not required by Title V or Ed Code, let's consider not including it as a requirement. Let's only include requirements that are based on law and regulation, or based on what we think is a best practice for students. And so these are all provisions that are not required by law or regulation. To petition for credit is not required by Title V. So that's a holdover as well from, I think, credit by exam, petitioning for credit by exam, and then now petitioning for credit for prior learning. It's fine for colleges to require petitions for CPL. It's kind of an administrative procedure and process. That's fine, but it's not a requirement to do that. Here's a big one: the catalog designation of CPL eligibility. We're all over the map on this. Some colleges maintain and list each course eligibility for CPL, the type of CPL, and sometimes down even to the credit recommendations that are available, approved for that course. And that is fine to do. It's a lot of work, and it's hard to maintain, but it's not a requirement of Title V. And often it's thought of as being a requirement. And I, again, think this might be a holdover from credit by exam days. The next one is pass, no pass grade designation. This one is a kind of a big topic. We don't have time to go into very much, but we recommend, this is a very soft recommendation. We have a text in the attached recommended AP 4235 that recommends colleges add a blanket statement to their procedure that says all courses are eligible for pass, no pass grading when CPL is used. That way you don't have to designate each course for pass, no pass grade when the faculty don't necessarily want a pass, no pass grade for an anatomy of physiology course. And they don't want to change their grading policy to offer a pass, no pass option. But by having the blanket provision, you don't have to go through all the work of designating or redesignating courses as pass, no pass when you might want to offer CPL. And then you might ask, well, what's to stop a student from getting anatomy, physiology credit for prior learning with a pass, no pass grade? The safeguard on that is that the faculty don't need to approve an articulation for that. All articulations are faculty approved. And so anatomy, physiology faculty are not interested in approving a credit for prior learning or don't believe it's appropriate, then they would not have that as an option. Okay, and then we're on this. The next to the last bullet is types of credit: course, area, and elective. And in our recommended AP, which is in the Padlet, hopefully you can grab a copy of that. We've clarified and worked with the Chancellor's office to clarify that CPL can be awarded for course credit, area, CSU GE breadth area credit, or elective credit, and be in compliance with Title 55050. Shelley, you want to add anything on that particular item or anything
No,
else?
you covered that piece very well.
Okay, and then the last thing I would say is take a look at global credit, global CSU area E credit for your service members. This is take a look at what your policy and procedure is, what your procedure is, and what's listed in your catalog. That's the credit that service members get when they come to your college and present a DD 214 or a joint services transcript in recognition of their basic training. What we found is that colleges are all over the board with this. And once you clarify that, you can actually award, oftentimes colleges can award a great number of units in CPL for Area E to just for service members, recognition of their basic training. And we can work with you more if you have questions on that. Our MEP team can work with you on how